So following up from my last video, when I was discussing about how Halo Reach has done irreparable damage to the franchise, and fans of the series have always begged and barked for, the classic art style to come back, I asked the question, I said, does Halo rely too much on nostalgia? Does it? Well, there are two types, or two questions actually, to this dilemma. Number one is the gameplay, the armor, and the maps. Are there too many remakes of maps and reiterations of armor? And then the second is, does the old fan base complain, cry too much of attaining the core of the game that holds it back from, like changing rapidly or evolving? So, to the answer to the former question is, it depends on the art style for the characters and the armor. This is a double-edged sword because it both hurts the franchise and the community. Like I get that people want Halo to stay like, recognizable, and like keep that core identity, but on the other hand, it really kills it like holds the franchise back from evolving with like new ideas, and like game modes being around. So to dissect this, let's look at the gameplay. So fans really hate Halo, how Halo Reach 4 and 5 and Infinite changed with like the whole armor abilities, especially sprint. We're not even gonna go down that rabbit hole to be honest. And then there's clamoring, armor abilities. In reality, they just want like combat evolve, 2, 3, floaty, slow gameplay. But that doesn't make sense because when it comes to Halo, how do you handle both the competitive ranked side and the casual? Not many fans are smart enough or wise to discuss two sides of the coin. Another thing is with the art styles, how Halo CE 2 and 3 set the trends for like how the elites, grunts, and Spartans should look. And then people complain about the changes in Reach 4 and 5 because people say that the art style has gone overcomplicated, it's too complex, it's too detailed, it's not simplistic enough. But then in Halo Wars 2 and Halo Infinite, they brought back that classic art style. So what's the problem really? I mean, I'm no artistic person, but it's just a video game. For armor, starting in Halo 3, there was new original armor aside from the Mark 6. Then in Halo Reach, they brought back some of that armor in a grim militaristic for the Spartan 3s. How in some ways brought back, yeah, in this like transitions into future games where they keep bringing back like the same armor and over and over again. For Halo 4, we had like that classic armor DLC pack, with the Mark 5 and everything. And then Halo 5, they had the Ghosts of Reach patch, which brought in like Noble Team's armor to the game. And then for Infinite, we all know from like day one, like they brought back like they practically have like every single armor from the entire franchise just like compressed and available for everyone to play in. So like you get in from like season passes and events. So that gives me the question, why can't we imagine any new and original armor? Like fans really hate 4 and 5 armor because it's too powerful. It's too Power Rangers and not quote unquote Halo enough. While you got like the new audiences who love the Infinite armor, like the Yorai armor, the Hazmat, the SPI, and the Eagle Strike. In truth, to be honest, Halo armor should just be true and simplistic, not just reimagined or re-envisioned, or old armor for the sake of new trends and favorites. And then let's go into another topic. The maps. Starting in Halo 2, there are continuous remakes, revisions of old maps like Midship. You ever notice how every new Halo game that comes out, there's going to be like some recognizable map from the past game that's brought back to life, Like immediately Halo Infinite has done this. They remade the pit from Halo 3 in like so many versions. Like you got the futuristic Taco Bell purple color, then you got the Samurai Dojo one, and then you got the original one. I really don't want to say that it's the Nuketown of the franchise because keep in mind, Reach started this trend with like Forge Me maps from the devs. And speaking of, the last dev map in Halo Infinite was Corrosion, which that map was pretty cool because it had environmental hazards. Like you don't get to see much of that in the maps, like diversity in Halo. Hopefully, the Unreal Engine for future Halo projects, will make map editing process so much more easy and fast. Not that it will downplay the community Forge makers because they honestly do a lot more work than I could ever think of in a day. And then let's get to the second question of the dilemma. Does the old Halo fan base complain, cry too much of attaining the core of the game that holds it back? I say yes. Again, when Halo 4 and 5 and Infinite came out, they were really unique compared to one to Reach. You know, they were doing their own thing. They were more sci-fi, Power Rangers, fantasy, instead of a grounded militaristic approach, albeit companies in the recent years have gone back to basics from doing complex things. I mean, just ask the Transformers fan base from the Bay films compared to like Transformers 1. Nostalgia shouldn't be the only reason why people talk about Halo. It should be the most like the most cool and fun aspects in the gameplay. Like, for example, from Halo 4, people were like, oh man, I love the Mantis. And 5, people love the assassinations. There were some really cool and brutal ones. And then you got Warzone. And then most of all, the grappling hook in Halo Infinite, which is like the greatest gameplay like trending in mind because it's so fun to like zoom around and just yeah, it's really cool. So another thought that comes into mind is Halo isn't supposed to be the same game. Now I'm gonna use the COD analogy because I feel like not many Halo fans are willing to listen or understand this whole like old is bad, old is good, new is bad. So let's take COD for example. COD releases annually, and it should be the standard principle against how not to repeat the same gameplay core. Like you got Black Ops 1, and then you got Modern Warfare 3, and then you got Black Ops 2, and then Advanced Warfare, and then you got like the sci-fi era of COD, and then you got the boots on the ground COD, which they go back, and then you got the reimagined COD where it's all like realistic and tactical. Honestly, people who complain too much about Halo gameplay should be thankful that we're not getting annually releases like COD, because it would honestly ruin the franchise and the core gameplay philosophy, whatever you call it. I honestly think that waiting around like 3 to 5 years is a good standard set for the franchise. But again, Halo is just one of those games that the fans determine or yell at the company to change rather than the company itself to change because, nostalgic sake, which isn't good for the integrity of appeal to the franchise. So this leads into several factors. How can Halo Studios handle pressure, and what do I think? Well, the answer to the former is they always listen to feedback. They're always listening. Compared to like Bungie or like these other gaming companies like Treyarch or whatever, Halo Studios is actually one of the most like communicative companies when it comes to the community, aside from like Microsoft getting in the way. But that's a whole nother thing. Anyway, they always listen to the feedback. So like hence why we got the art style going back to the classic and Infinite. They also could do community polls. You can also join the Discord to talk in the forums and the threads. Honestly, there could be a lot of imaginings. As long as they keep doing it consistently and like hearing our feedback, it should be no problem. So what do I think about this? I also agree that Halo relies too much on nostalgia and that the fanboys need to grow their 2001 to 2010 mindset. Sure, it is cool to see old armor revision and modern tech, but we need to consistently evolved, get it, combat evolved, and grow in a more accessible, easy way of getting both new and old audiences to play the game without gatekeeping. For those that hate Halo 4 and 5 and Infinite, they're practically missing out on the good details within the games, like the gorgeous environments, the sound audio, the social aspects, and the modern tech, albeit if the slip space engine was practically hard to crack. And also just like the marketable expander approach to everybody within the franchise. So in conclusion, yeah, Halo does rely too much on nostalgia, and honestly, we're all guilty of admitting it, because it's been around for 20 years, and there comes this whole philosophical approach to how do we evolve the franchise or anything. So I just wanted to get this commentary video out of the way. I guess I'm a Halo commentary channel now, I guess. And so, yeah, that's what I wanted to discuss this with you guys. Please be civil. Please be civilized in the comments below. You know, let's not go at each other's throats. We all disagree sometimes. We all don't like whatever from these games. At the end of the day, we play Halo. That's the most important thing, is we remember where we come from, you know. So, yeah, this has just been like a follow-up to the last video I just wanted to make and get out of the way. So next week I'll be making my regular Halo Infinite Operation Showcase with the Legacy Halo 3 event in Infinite, and I'll probably post my thoughts on the Games Fest and all that. But other than that, I'll see you guys later. This has been Woodscump. Peace.